Welcome to the loop.
Hi. I can't find my cord. Entertain the people first.
Hello. Hey, you just pulled on something.
Hi.
Yeah. Why is this broken like this?
Is it?
See that? That one's you.
That one.
Ah!
Jeez. What? Why are you turning me up that loud?
Sorry about that, people.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? We were tore down for a while.
Welcome to setting up your podcasts live. Ow. Ah. It's your cord. It sounds like.
Yeah. Keep
But,
talking to the people.
hey, Trevor.
Sorry, I am totally
Hi.
blanking on anything to talk about.
What
That's
are-
not No Man's Sky. I figure we want to wait.
You just
till we-
jumping
Just
the shark,
talk,
right? Aren't
just talk about what games you've been playing. You know, the normal.
I've
No Man's Sky.
Trevor, that's all you've been
No.
playing for the last month since we've done this show.
Oh, that's true.
Star Citizen.
I did play a little bit of Star Citizen. I actually
It's not you, Kyle. It'll be okay.
I know.
got
I'm
back
just-
into Watch Dogs 2 because I picked that up for PC one time. It was when it was really big sale.
Big sale.
It was a big sale.
I've been having a lot of fun with it though. Again,
Watch Dogs 2 was a really good game.
yeah, and it's like I have a lot of fun with. There's actually surprisingly still a decent community around it right now.
That's because they like to hack. They like to press X and hack.
True. And it does
that's
teach
what it
everybody
does.
to actually hack things too.
Yeah.
But like I was having fun like doing like the bounty hunting things and and the invasion things. Although I get super annoyed because when a couple times
Hello?
Hey, Eric. Welcome to
I'm
the show.
still here.
Oh, nice. A couple of times I did the invasion thing and I would get like halfway done and then they just drop out and I'm just like that's just the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, I didn't play any of the Invasion when I did it.
It's fun. It's stressful. I love it when people invade my.
Yeah, I played enough of it or enough of the Invasion stuff when I was in the first game that I was like, I just don't even if it's been improved, the way that it just completely takes over absolutely everything and you may not have a chance to even find the person. I don't know.
I love the cat and mouse. It was so awesome. One time I got some guy and I found him, and then it just led on to this huge car chase that took like 5 minutes. I was chasing him clear across
San Francisco.
San Francisco. I kept thinking LA.
The San Francisco treat.
It's and it was so fun. I finally.
It was
got
Sioux
out.
Falls.
It was
It
Sioux
was
Falls.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So it didn't take too long to get across the town. No, it's I remembered just how much I liked that game. The puzzle solving and the way
Yeah.
they just let you do different options to access a certain thing, and it's just I like the idea that some of the times you can just not even go into the place and you can just use the drone things and hack through the cameras and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was a great game. I just the invasion stuff, like, it lost its luster for me because if you're like in the middle of trying to get across town or this or that and somebody invades, and it's like I don't even care that somebody invades, and I don't know. It just, ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. I half the time I was just waiting for somebody to jump in, though, because I love it.
Tonight's episode brought to you by Diet Coke.
Hey guys, I'm just pouring
Just
myself a
listen to
tasty beverage.
He's pouring himself a taste.
Hear the bubbles?
You know,
Oh yeah, I hear the bubbles.
Diet Coke is a really good drink.
I like to drink it after a hard day's work. Sometimes I'm sweaty and parched,
Oh my gosh.
and I need a Diet Coke.
This reminds me of that stupid Diet Coke commercial with
The ladies that would look at the construction worker.
no,
Kiefer Sutherland.
it was the one I don't know her name, but she's the lady from Community who played Britta.
Jo-
Oh my gosh.
Gillian Jacobs.
I hate that commercial.
I don't know which one you're talking about, so sorry.
You're talking?
okay.
Are you talking about one of those millennial skinny
it's-
can ones?
It's like I can't tell if it feels like they're making fun of millennials. I'm not sure or not. It seems like they should be. Or
Should be.
It's just the way. It's just the whole tone of it. It's just so stupid.
I think
don't
largely
know.
what they were, to some degree, I feel like a lot of the stuff that's done like that seems like it's making fun of people that make fun of millennials, because they don't even know what age bracket millennials are.
Not this one. This one's I don't know.
Bracket.
It's either written by somebody who's so cynical that they've just like given up on life.
Can you at
Kuipers,
least
or
describe
it's-
it to
Can you
us?
bring up
'Cause
the commercial for us, Kuipers?
Maybe.
I don't even know what you're talking about, Trevor. I'm so confused.
It's horrible. I hate it so much.
I mean, we know it's horrible now. We've established
Hang on.
this.
Let me, Kuipers, I got it. I'm slacking it to you.
All
All right. I think. Maybe.
Somebody.
Is that the one,
wants-
Trevor?
yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't mean to take
I'm really,
over with
I'm really
this.
glad that we're just gonna sit here now and wait for this commercial to play. If Kuiper or Kyle can. learn
Hey,
how to
I'm
copy
on it.
and
I'm on it.
paste. This is the longest setup ever. I'm just saying.
You know what? He has it now. He can take care of it from here. We're trying to.
Welcome to The Loop. It's a talk show about video games.
If you can't tell.
We're going to talk about this Diet Coke commercial. Trevor's brought it up on numerous occasions.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is
still
true.
have never seen it. I don't
Have
know
I
why
really?
he has seen it so many times.
I've only
You
brought
have-
it up
you
like
have
twice.
mentioned-
Oh, I mean, I
You've mentioned
feel like
it
every time
once
Diet
here.
Coke comes up, you talk about it. I feel
Are you
like
sure? I really doubt that because I think I've never really mentioned it because I didn't even
False.
remember it was Diet Coke. commercial
I
at
remember
first.
you telling us about this terrible
I
Diet
tweeted
Coke
it one time.
commercial.
and that's it. That's
No,
the only time
you
I've
brought
said
up on
anything.
this
You
on
brought
one
it
of the
up.
podcasts
Yeah.
before.
Did I?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
around the time the cans came. All right, let's just watch this and understand your pain. We're gonna watch this commercial. Kuipers, you push play.
Getting its stuff set up.
Here's the thing about Diet Coke.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. It makes me feel good.
How did I know that?
Life is short. If you want to live in a yurt it up. If you want to run a marathon, I mean, that sounds super hard, but okay. I mean, just do you, whatever that is. And if you're in the mood for a Diet Coke, have a Diet Coke.
But it's
Diet
chemicals.
Coke. Because I can.
I don't see what the problem is, Trevor.
It's just so
I got
dumb.
goosebumps, chills up the back of my neck. Ooh,
Yeah.
Diet Coke. She's right. You know, because I can.
You know, and she's right.
Cheers.
Life is short. So
Yeah.
if you want to run a marathon, run a marathon.
Yeah, and
I don't
consume
but
these chemicals that give rats cancer.
Let's
I
do
like
it. Cheers. I mean, I don't even
Toast.
have Diet Coke. I've got
Whatever.
some other chemicals
I
called
like-
Baja Fresh.
You know, it's all organic, no matter what. It came from the earth. Someone had to make it. Like,
Yeah, everything is natural.
a man had to go to a planet and shoot it with a laser gun to make my Diet Coke.
Yeah,
That was a transition. So we're there's no denying or delaying the inevitable here.
Nope.
No Man's Sky is finally out. It's been a
Yep.
long time. We've been waiting for the release for so long.
so long.
I mean, it's been, what was it? E3 2008 when they announced it. And now 10 years later, we finally got to play No Man's Sky. It's been in, early access for a couple years now, and
The cynical guy.
I think the early access was good for it. It gave them lots of feedback, and now we have a full game with game things. Welcome to No Man's Sky.
Tell me how you really feel.
I'm just saying the game was kind of not slapdash, but it just wasn't. It wasn't
what they promised.
It wasn't what they promised. It was pretty shallow. It was fun. Like, it was a cool, chill, like, hey, I'm gonna listen to a podcast and shoot rocks with a laser for a few hours type of game. But it really, but now that it's out and they figured it out, we've all been playing it a little bit. So how's everybody feel about No Man's Sky?
Well, I mean, I've been a No Man's Sky evangelist since it came out, and I've still maintained that it was a great game. I know there was a lot of things that it didn't promise, but I feel like a large chunk of what they had originally set forth was there, and I enjoyed the game. I thought that it was good, and the fact that they then have followed up with more content is.
I think
this is
calling it more content is an understatement. I think you mean
it's a whole
releasing a new game, well, and giving it to people for free.
Yeah, but I mean this version they've revamped a ton, but there was a lot of stuff that they had put into the Atlas Rise and Foundations, and into the last 3 major updates that they've put out. Mm-hmm. And I know have you played any of it since then?
Yeah.
Okay. Like any of the storyline and
not the
missions
story,
and stuff?
just mainly like the base building stuff.
Okay,
and things like
so
that.
yeah, I mean, and like the base building that they put in that first free update was cool, but then I mean they added.
But I still
story
feel
and
like the stuff that they've added now, the story, like who freaking cares? I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. But I'm just like saying nobody. That's not like a big deal. Like this is a big deal. Like the stuff they added this time is actually a game. Like they've added
so cool.
so many new things to this. That it kind of blows my mind that we even got this. Like,
well,
like I mean, the story's great. That's fine, but it's just like they always try. They had that one. I mean, is the story that much better than the shoehorn follow the Atlas?
Yeah,
thing?
I mean, it's there's somebody that you encounter.
Is there voice acting? That's what I'm asking.
No, there is no voice
so
acting.
Screw it. I don't care. I have to read. I'm not going to read. I'm just going to skip it a bunch. And then go shoot lasers.
But it tells. I mean, it's something that points you in a specific direction and takes you towards. It's something that kind of facilitates your movement throughout the galaxy. And I mean, I think that it's something that did you start a new game?
Just to
you started a new save though, right?
What are you asking me? You have to if you want to experience the full thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you can
really.
still do everything.
I mean, I could.
Trevor didn't start a new
I didn't
save.
start a new game.
Really?
Yeah, I just started where I picked up.
I thought they said
No.
that if you want to like experience it,
If you want the
you
best
should
experience with
start a new
everything,
game.
and you hadn't played any of the other stuff, then yeah, you should start a new game.
I
It
like
wasn't
my
something
ship
that
and
you
stuff.
had to.
I already had a freighter. I had like 6 million credits.
Yeah, which I mean, from that aspect, I guess not wanting to lose your freighter, that makes sense. And
when I played the game, you couldn't get a freighter.
Yeah.
So
And I've never been
you've
able
not
to.
played for a long time.
Yeah,
then.
he hasn't played for a long time.
So it'll seem like a brand whole, like a super new game to you. So
well, but I mean, yeah, I didn't play with the freighter, but I still feel like the stuff that they've added.
it's there's a ton of stuff they added,
Yeah.
and they refined like everything. Like what they haven't added.
Just to be
they've made.
clear, you guys keep saying this. I am fully aware of what they added this time and what has been added previously. I've read all the updates, so I know the freighters were in there. I know the story stuff got added. I'm just saying.
I'm not
clear, I
trying to-
understand what they've done. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think that the point I'm trying to make is like when they call this next or whatever, and it's like this is.
It
Like,
could be called
this
No
is-
Man's Sky
This is
too.
the game. Well, not necessarily that, but this is the game that should have been released 2 years ago. This is a full package. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, sure, they piecemealed it and they've kind of put these things together. And the first game was it was a game, but it felt like early access. It
Yeah.
really felt like an early access game.
I'll give you that.
And I mean, people play those and people have a good time and people like early access games. And I'm not trying to shoot it down. I'm
Even
just saying that.
more than that, it almost could have seemed more like a proof of concept or something.
Yeah. Well, I still think that Sony really messed with what they were doing and
Yeah.
just kind of threw the throttle on the hype train up to the max, and then they jumped off when it crashed.
Yeah.
And,
I think a mixture of Sony's pushing and Sean's
well, I mean,
overhyping it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, you've got a lot of things that they wanted to do, and like he said in the last week or so, you know, the giant space worms that they showed in an early trailer, they decided to remove that stuff because it was so overpowering that he said, I mean, if we had left that in there, it would have been something that would have been absolutely annoying. No one would have liked that. It was something that looked really cool in that trailer and didn't end up going into the actual...
What does he mean by that? Like,
because of how powerful they were? Yeah. Like,
well, why not just do it less?
They could have just given them less health. And
yeah, that's such a lame excuse. Or just like put them in there less often, like because you can kind of control that, right? Like how much they. I mean, if it's done. I mean, the way that if people aren't familiar with the way of the game, it's procedurally designed. So it's like, I mean, it's just numbers pretty much, and so that's how they have whatever billions of planets are. But I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they weren't able to figure out a way to make them work on.
Just saying, if giant space worm is bad and hard to beat, like let's just only have them show up, you know,
very rarely, and
more.
make it more common when you have really powerful stuff or something.
Yeah,
sure,
because they could do that.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like I was always bummed. I never saw any of those giant dinosaurs or any of the giant worms or none of those.
I saw giant dinosaurs.
Like the really like tall like brontosaurus looking
I haven't
things.
seen any of the really
I've
big
never
ones.
seen one of those.
I saw one
unless they've added them recently.
I saw one a month ago when I started a save, and it was pretty awesome.
It's crazy because I mean, and maybe that stuff's all rare to get because I mean, I played this game for at least 50, 60 hours, and I never saw one. So it's like, I never saw anything that was even neat to look at. Like, they're always just like, hey, that's like a weird dino buffalo thing, and that's the best
I saw a few dinosaurs in my first playthrough that was like 50 or 60 hours when it first released. But not anything. And I mean, I guess to some degree it makes sense. Like, you look at some of that stuff and you think, okay, how often would you actually come across that if you are traveling from planet to planet? Like, it's something that you may not necessarily come across all that frequently. So it's not entirely a surprise that you didn't. I think that now they have adjusted some of it so that you come across some of the things a lot more frequently, just because people were disappointed that you didn't run into them. But I think some of it was we don't want these types of dinosaurs and creatures to be overwhelming in this game.
Yeah.
Here's something I ran into today. That's
funny because that's the same thing I was dealing with today.
Oh, really?
On the planet I started on when I started my game.
Oh man, it was so creepy, and I was so confused when I hit it. I was just like, "What?"
That almost looks like an
alien. That's kind of what it's supposed to be. Almost.
Well, and when you shoot its little baby eggs, the tons of them just come flying out of the ground at you. And those things.
Crazy. The things in the eggs are worth a whole bunch of money, though.
But they disappear really quick if you don't grab them, which is crazy.
I had a building nearby, and so I was just like, I'd mine them real quick, and then I'd grab like 2 or 3 of them, and then I'd jump on top of the building and wait until they all disappeared.
When you say a building, you mean a base?
Yeah,
Okay.
Or it wasn't my base; it was just a.
So are those things that need a hazmat gauntlet?
Maybe. I don't know.
I've noticed
already,
that most of the things that are the extremely rare, like the original release of the game, they had that like those glowing orbs on planets that when you picked them up, you instantly had like every sentinel in the system like come down on you. Those types of things I've seen numerous times, but you have to get that hazmat gauntlet. So it's one of those things that they've layered a lot of things that when you played the game when it first released, you didn't have to go through progression and actually follow through on mission things.
You could just kind of jump around on
because
things.
now, like, if you want to try and go and get a lot of those things that are worth a ton of money, you have to go and do missions to improve your status with certain aliens to be able to buy the blueprints to get the hazmat gauntlets to then go and pick those things up.
That's another reason I didn't want to restart all the way, because now I have the advanced mining laser. I have the hazmat gauntlets, and it took me a long time to get them.
Yeah.
It's just like, I do not want to have to restart that.
It is interesting that too, the way that they've restructured a large chunk of things. I mean, the elements they've changed.
Oh yeah, which
they're
confused a lot. I'm
Yeah.
starting to kind of understand what it used, because it doesn't help. It's been a long time since I played, and so I can't really remember exactly how it worked. But it's like, it's weird because I might have picked up on it real easily, but yeah, I'm just like, this is this, and this is kind of this, and I don't know.
Right. It is very different because I was just I put in 15 or so hours in the last month, just with a new save, playing around with it, getting used to everything again.
Sorry.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that was my voice disappearing. And so yeah, it's very very different with the way that that's all set up. Yeah, I don't know. I've loved this game from the beginning. I didn't like that they wiped everything in the universe every time they had one of the major releases, but it makes sense with it being procedurally generated
Yeah.
that they'd have to basically wipe everything. So it makes sense every time one of these starts, if you do download it, to go ahead and start a new game.
Yeah. Sorry. It was.
Hey guys, welcome to the loop.
I love what they did with the freighters and stuff, because the way they used to do it, it was just like you would go up the stairs and then you could go to the bridge, or you could go to this little weird back room where you could build stuff, and it was kind of limited. But now it's just like, it's like all kind of part of the bridge. It's right behind there. You go up in there, you go through it, and so I haven't really done much with it, but I'm really excited to see what I'm really excited to see what they can do with that. And then yeah, like you said, there's like layers on layers and layers and layers and layers, and like they have like the refineries now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And like I'm really excited to see what that all that does. And they've got the ship missions that you can send the little, because you've got your capital ship and you can send the little freighters off on different missions. And I've not
I
tried
want
it
to
yet.
make
but
money.
I'm excited to try and do that. Here's another guy I ran into.
This guy is awesome.
This guy, I saw him. I was like, oh my gosh.
And he's just like, it's weird to see kind of almost a humanoid like creature, because I don't that will walk upright. I haven't ran into any of those either before. That's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty glorious.
And he's got like antlers and
he's got big old claws. I don't think he was very aggressive. Though.
it just seems like someone in a costume.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a bear gorilla.
Yeah.
With antlers.
Yeah, I mean, if starting the game, it's definitely the same game. Like, I mean, the graphical improvements are really nice. Just it looks so much better than it used to. Just look so muted. And
Well, and they've kind of modified the HUD in different ways.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
all the UI and everything. It's got like another, like they've just ran over it all with like a really nice update.
Yeah.
I mean, even like the fact that you can upgrade your suit in a way that you've got like the high capacity stuff to hold. It is really weird that now they have changed it so that you don't have to, or you have to be really close to your ship to send anything to it. You can't be like way far away from it and just zap it there.
That was the way it always was, though, in the beginning.
You could send things from your backpack to your ship from anywhere. It didn't matter how far away you were. You just couldn't pull things from your ship to your backpack.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But you could like craft things in your ship from far away. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. Like there's a lot of little things that they've tweaked that, for the most part, everything is so much better. There's just a couple of little things like that I think are there to add to the challenge too, because it's not like.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, if you can't transport things to your ship, you shouldn't be able to teleport them back.
Right.
I would say up until I don't know, maybe like an hour before I got here, I was ready to come here and just like trash this thing, because like I had started it over. Last night I started it. I had this loading shader thing on PC.
Oh,
where
it took
wouldn't
forever.
load.
Yeah.
It wouldn't load. It kept it just like
Oh, yours
spun. It
wouldn't?
would just stay
Oh.
on that loading shaders forever. Like, I mean, I just waited and nothing happened. Like,
Mine did that once, and then now it's.
and then I looked it up online, and they're like, "Oh, you can clear it or whatever." And while I was looking it up, I had restarted it, and it worked. I don't know. So I was like, "Whatever, okay, that's fine."
Yeah.
But then, the planet I started on, because I started a new game, it started me on this ice planet that was so cold that my health was just like depleting immediately. Like I barely could go out and search for stuff without and it was like. That was frustrating me, so I just quit last night. I got home tonight after work and I played it. I load up the game. I'm like, I'm gonna start a new one again. I'm not gonna do this like gas plant or this
Hard
this
mode.
ice planet.
Yeah.
Loads up, puts me on a gas planet.
I don't think they
And
want
so-
to. I think that might be something that they've set up because it's the island. I had an ice planet too. It wasn't quite the extreme that it sounds like yours was, but I wonder if some of that
When
is
you started over.
Yeah, I started a new save last night, and I was on an ice planet that like just had snow coming down, and then like the blizzards would come through that
And
take your stuff down immediately. But
And so I was so I was just like, okay, well, this is really obnoxious, but whatever. I'm gonna play it. And I got into it, and it takes a little time because you're like, yeah, they've changed some of the mineral stuff, they changed how some of that works, how to repair things, and it's like, and I think you just got to remind yourself that first couple hours is like, hey, the stuff you need is around you. It's not gonna be hard to get like later on in the game. Like it's just kind of figuring out what comes from what plant. But then like learning the controls, and it doesn't do a great job of holding your hand about like the scan. Like there's little prompts that you can read, so it does help. But then that in the beginning, I don't think much of that was there at all in the original release.
no,
Was it? Like,
you
it was
just
kinda like,
figured it out.
yeah. And so at least that's helpful, and like to tell you to attach your scanner and that stuff. But after I got into it a little while, I was just like, okay, yes, this is really cool. I kind of it's the same. It feels like the same game as far as what you do in the beginning. You're kind of getting your ship together and you're taking off. So I haven't really experienced a lot of the new stuff, but
Yeah.
it was.
And I think some of the new stuff's gonna. I mean, it'll probably take some time for you to get to that point because you've got to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
To be able to get like the freighters and stuff. Like
I think the cheapest
unless
rate
they've
is like $4 million or something.
unless they've brought that down with this release. I haven't
think
even
so.
tried to go onto a freighter, but like the cheapest I'd ever seen was like $8 million.
I
So
picked
I
mine
thought
up
that-
for fairly cheap.
I thought you guys had told me, or I thought I read it, that like if you started on your old game, like it breaks stuff, like it was, or it isn't the full experience, or it isn't something like people have been. I thought. So
It's
that's why I didn't go back,
kinda
because
like-
I'm probably at this point. You guys are telling me I should just go back to my original save. at this
I
point.
recommend it. I mean, because it's just I don't know, unless you really want to do the whole grind to the top. Because I mean, you might learn things a little better that way.
If they've changed elements and stuff, then what's my inventory going to look like?
What happened to me was a lot of things kind of got homogenized a bit. At least I think. I think I had like a bunch of different metals in my freighter, and they all turned into ferrite or whatever it is. I can't remember, except for a couple of them.
Because there's like copper and there's that stuff, titanium. That stuff's all still there.
Yeah. Well, I think I had a couple more like advanced ones, and I think it just kind of turns into that ferrite. I also had like my multi-tool had a ton of what was it?
Like upgrades and stuff.
It had a ton of upgrades, but it was called like I can't think of the word now, but it was useless stuff, and to where I just broke it down. It gave me some pretty nice stuff for it. I'm pretty sure my base got entirely wiped out.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a bummer because I'm pretty sure I had some stuff there. Unless it's just off somewhere and I can't find it, but I don't know how to find it.
So once you build a base, is it easy to find your way back to it? Or...
It's super easy. You can pretty
Okay.
much jump right to it.
Oh, okay.
Do you have to
takes-
have a? I mean, you have to have a portal in it, right?
You don't have to. In fact, because originally that when you built a base, like whenever they put them in there,
yeah.
The thing that you originally built from, because you would go and you would found it, because there were only specific locations that you could build them,
Right.
and that had a portal inside of it.
Okay.
Now you have to build them. So, like, initially you won't be able to teleport to it until you build that portal. which it is really nice too, and it wasn't that like resource intense to build the portal.
Yeah, it's not. I think that a lot of the stuff that they've set up for building and whatnot is stuff that you are going to find very commonly.
Yeah.
At least for like building the basics of a base and whatnot.
Yeah, you should be able to build the basics.
Because last night I built a portal, but then it wouldn't let me use it when I was on the space station because I hadn't gone to warp yet in my save.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, the base building is really cool. I like how they've made it to where you can build it anywhere. It was kind of funny, though. I was working on my base, and I was on top of the thing, and then suddenly I heard this, and these ships came, because the ships will go flying by. And I had one of them, and it knocked me off my base, and it sent me flying. I was like, whoa! Luckily, that doesn't seem to happen very often, so, yeah.
It's crazy the way that, like, the base... Oh, my gosh.
I was looking at
That
bases
is,
and I saw that.
that is an impressive base.
Someone has constructed or erected rather in AT-AT or in ATST, right?
AT-AT,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, I was right the first time.
That almost looks like that might have been... It looks really square. I don't know if that... Maybe that is from the next release.
Yeah, it could be. They have all the square components and stuff. So
It was the one thing that I think is definitely stranger and makes it a little bit harder with the base building is that with the bases that you would build in the previous releases, it was a building that you found that was already there, so you didn't have to worry about like trying to level out any of the land.
yeah.
And I built one. And the doors, they don't, like, open or anything, do they? It's just, like, a glowing blue...
You can have one that... you can have, like, a portal thing where you can just walk through it. It's like a shield.
Yeah,
Or
that's
you
what
can have
mine
actual
was.
doors.
Because I couldn't
'Cause I
figure
like the
out how to
actual
do
doors.
the door when I was building it last night. And I was... it was almost the same time that you were building in yours. And I was like, oh, I got a wood-paneled base that I just built here. And it was just, like, this... big rectangular cabin looking thing. I was like, this is not the ideal one, but
I do like how you can make wood cabins now. That's kind of funny.
yeah, it's
So are there a lot of different materials then to build with? Or
you
is
can build with, I think, all I've seen right now that you can actually build with is stone or the ferrite. And you need the refined ferrite to build most of the stuff. But you can make it look like it's built like something else. I saw that there's like rusty, there's stone, there's other stuff. I couldn't remember.
figure out why. Like, I tried using that on my base computer, and it didn't really change anything. So.
I think it's just visual stuff. I think it's
Yeah.
just a shader.
So with the multiplayer that they've added, because that's another huge thing that was kind of like quasi promised in the first release. But now what I saw in the beginning when you start the game, it says like play game or join the game.
Right.
So does that mean that I can't just be playing in my world and then join like go to you?
You can join other people. I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't tried it yet. But you can just jump in and join people. You have to be on the same mode as them.
But if I'm in survival, I could just go find your planet.
Or you could jump in and join him in a session. Like there's an option to like send requests out to people to join you.
Yeah.
I get that. I guess I'm just wondering like if I'm just playing my game in survival, you're playing your game in survival, could you send out like a beacon and I could travel to you?
I don't know if you can because
I
of
don't
how
know if
far
that-
away your bases and things that you may have started on.
That's a cool base. I don't know. I don't know that you could do that. Yeah, just partially just because of the distance. I think you have to specifically join their server because you can also find people out in the wild, but it's very unlikely to happen. But yeah, I think you pretty much just have to join them because otherwise it's like.
So that I guess what I'm asking is if I joined you and I built a base right next to your base.
Yeah.
And then I come back and play later without you, is that base still there?
Yes, because it's not.
But is that where my games? Do I start off where I left off on your session?
maybe?
not sure.
I'm not positive on that. I do know that nobody owns the world that you join because you're kind of just being put together. You're not joining somebody else's world. You all have permission to build things, and that's all permanent. and
Because
like,
it's technically like
different
one world, though, right? Like, or one universe.
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's still
and
that way.
I think there's certain ways. I think you have to upload your base for it to actually appear in the world, because people can run into your base, and I think that they can visit your base in different ways too.
Yeah, I haven't really messed around with that, mostly because you jerks are all on PC while I'm on PlayStation. Go figure.
PC Master Race.
I get the PlayStation and join you two. And
Kuipers, are you
Elite.
playing on PC?
I'm not playing at all.
Oh, okay.
Loser? Kuipers, get it on PlayStation.
Get on PC, got it.
I hate you, Kuipers.
So I want to try this out. I guess I'm just curious. Like, hey, if I
I'd
go
like
to
to
this
try it.
planet and we're like building something side by side, like, does that mean when I leave, I get kicked back to my personal save game on like a planet, like a million planets away from you, and
I'm
then
not
or
positive how that'll work,
does it save where I'm at? Yeah, I'm really curious about how that works.
because I would think yes.
Because I feel like it's more like, hey, you're just joining someone's session, so it's like I'm going to join you while I'm joining, but once I
Well,
quit that, I'm going to go back to my save game wherever I'm at.
Kinda, yeah.
But
I mean,
then
the
does
stuff
that-
you build should stay there, though, because they specifically explained it as.
But then does that mean
stuff.
I'm spending my resources and everything that I
I
collected
think everything
from my
that you
game?
collect while
yes.
you're playing together, though, carries over with you regardless.
And I think you can share resources too if you want.
We'll have to try that out to figure out like how that
yeah.
I'd like
works.
to try. Yeah.
No crossplay, huh? That's too bad. I wonder
Yeah.
why they don't just do crossplay. I mean, PlayStation's done it
terribly
with PC
surprised.
before.
I mean, maybe
I'm
I
terribly
don't know
surprised.
if there is, but
Okay.
I haven't looked.
Partially because it would require integration of everything, because they all have their separate universes right now, and you'd have to. integrate
Oh, you mean
everything, so-
per platform?
Yeah. And I assume
would make
that
sense
sounds
then.
kind of complicated to do all that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. What, sorry, were you?
Oh,
just-
I was gonna say the other big thing that they introduced was the third person view and character customization, which I didn't think that I was going to enjoy playing in third person, and I've pretty much played in third person since I
Exclusively?
started.
Nice.
Yeah. And I switched it up for a few minutes today, and I was like, nah, I'll switch back to the third person. I think, and I know we had talked about it. I don't remember if we talked about it. It was probably not on a show because we haven't done the loop in a while. But I know I had said I don't know if I feel like playing it in third person, other than just to check my character out every once in a while. But I think that it's different. It adds to it.
It is really cool.
Jumping with that jetpack is so cool.
Yeah.
It like makes it actually feel like you're jumping and flying across the planet, which is something that was you didn't. I mean, you had that feeling, but it was always kind of like this imagined thing. That now it's like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing it, and it looks as cool as it feels.
It just, I mean, I think the control has been overhauled so much that it feels
Yeah.
better in general, because before it just felt like, hey, here's a space gun in front of the screen that you're looking at, and it just felt very detached from the,
Yeah.
like the gameplay felt detached. For this feels
Yeah.
much more one-to-one with the controller. Like I feel like the only thing I didn't really care for in third person is it was weird when you would point your laser at something. It's based on the reticle, so like it's like sometimes all of a sudden your gun will be pointing like south, and it'll be pointing like east or something. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Like it bends the laser out of the gun, barrel of the gun, which makes no sense at all.
Right.
Which it just looks stupid. So that's maybe why it annoys me.
I-
But I didn't mind playing it in third person as long as I have a controller. But if I'm playing mouse and keyboard, I did not like it at all in
Yeah.
third person.
Some of the animation seems a little weird, and
Yeah, jumping in and out of the spaceship, especially if you've got the spaceship in first person, and then your character, because that seems like that's what it defaults to, or at least that's what it defaulted to for me was third person for when you're on foot, first person when you jump into
Yeah.
the ship.
Yeah.
So like that whole aspect of it's like it does the first person jump out, and then it like almost like takes a second to. Oh yeah, I need to
wait.
generate your character here on foot or whatnot.
yeah.
Because one thing,
I guess.
well, go ahead.
Sorry, I guess my main problem was like some of the walking's kind of weird. Like it's a little floaty. It's like it doesn't seem very attached to the ground in some ways.
Because
And
it's like the moon.
I'm super
Yeah.
nitpicky about that, and it drives me nuts when it's like a little like because it's like sometimes if you're going kind of slow, if you rotate or something, it kind of just like it just hovers your character a bit, and I don't know. That
That
just
is
bothers
annoying.
me. It just is always like ever since Fable 2, it's driven me nuts. Just like
Now, and I know one thing they added. I'm kind of looking at a list here on IGN, but I did see that they added the ability to create a base on your freighter, which that's kind of cool.
well,
yeah,
that's
they've
just,
had that for a
build it in
while.
there, yeah.
It's like this area in the back end of the freighter that you
Yeah.
can.
It's much better now though, because it's actually like like I was saying, it's actually
Well, they're
like,
saying
like
it's
part of it though.
well. I guess what I meant, I didn't add that it's you. What's new about it is that like I could get on Trevor's freighter and build a base on it, where before that was not possible, obviously because of
Yeah.
multiplayer. But it's cool that they'll let you, so I can go in and make stupid
Yeah.
things on.
So,
Trevor's
yeah, Trevor, you
freighter.
might want to lock down your freighter.
Yeah.
He can't. Not if he invites
just-
me to play.
Just
I
go
can
into
just- dumb
I
things.
can make it jump around like like all over the
just
place.
go into battle and just constantly be fighting.
Well,
and then he won't be able to
Now
get
the
out.
freighters you can't pilot directly, right? Or
No,
can you?
no.
Okay, you just call them into
you
wherever.
can call them in. It's really
Oh,
cool,
you
actually.
can't?
No, you can't.
I thought
call
that
them
with this
directly.
that it was going to let you because of the ability to do battle and stuff from the freighters. That's what it seemed like they had indicated, was that with this there was supposed to be some more.
At least if they have, I've not found anything that shows that. What you can do is just he'll like fly up into space, and then you can just press down to that little quick access menu, and one of them is call freighter, and it just like it jumps in there. It's really really cool.
Do they stay off the planet only? They stay
yeah.
above.
They can get pretty close to the planet. They can't enter the atmosphere.
Can you
though.
see them from
Yeah.
the ground?
Yeah, in fact, I've taken some pictures
cool.
last update, and it's really cool because you can you'll have your base set up there, and then you can see the freighter off in the background. It's really cool. The freighter stuff is really cool, and I'm excited to try it because I'm just figuring out how to do the missions. I haven't had all the resources to build the room to where you can send them out on the different missions
Yeah.
and stuff. But
It seems cool to just have that idea of can you actually dock your ship on the freighter then and
Yeah.
fly it out? And that's pretty
and
cool.
you can
Yeah.
keep and it's really nice too because then it allows you to keep multiple ships.
So had you not,
Very
you
cool.
hadn't seen the freighters as far as being able to board them or anything prior?
No,
Okay. Because you've been. I mean,
that's why I just asked that.
well,
Rub it in, Kyle.
I'm still trying to understand. I mean, because
I told you I played the base building stuff. That's about all I've experienced
okay.
from the other
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
so-
freighters are super cool. I love that addition, and then the next updates are just are great. They just make it feel
Yeah.
so much more useful, so much more alive in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one thing I'll say too is if you're buying a new ship, if you're swapping it, if you're keeping your other ship, don't worry about it. But if you're swapping your ship, don't forget to clear the inventory.
Oh yeah, it's that glitch. That's still there.
I don't know that it's
I
supposed
feel
to
like
be.
it's
I don't
a glitch.
think it's a glitch.
I feel like it's a glitch.
I think it was just a poor design choice.
because it's just I remember doing that early on in the game.
Yeah.
Are you talking about when you were if you find a crashed ship that you decide
or
that you're
if you
going to
buy a
take?
ship.
Okay.
I had a ton of really nice stuff on my ship, and I was just like, I was gonna buy a new one because I found this one that I liked, and then I found this one that was way cooler. I was like, I gotta have that one, and so I bought it, and I was just like, should I buy this? And then I went ahead, fine, lost all that stuff. It's like,
Well, they've got a warning that says make sure you
yeah.
remove everything from your ship. Which
yeah,
I mean, if,
totally didn't see it
with
but
the
yeah.
idea of trying to add to the realism and everything,
Yeah.
and
You're selling your ship.
Yeah, you're
stuff
selling
and
your
all.
ship. If you don't, it's like
sorry,
selling your car.
But
if
if I sell my car, the dealer will say, "Hey, you left this stuff in the back seat. Would you like it?" They should have the same.
That's
thing.
just because the stuff that's in the back seat of your car is probably nothing valuable to them, as opposed to all of the valuable things that are in the back seat of your spaceship.
not buying it. It's laziness.
And if you leave a ship on a
Kyle,
planet,
the game already
No
knows
one's-
it loves you. Okay,
no one-
that you love it. I mean, okay,
I do love it.
You can stop. All right, it's okay. You don't have to defend everything. It looks cool. I'm excited to play some more time or put some more time into it. I'd been playing it this afternoon a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm coming around and kind of.
I'm interested to see if like if you go back and play with your old save, how some of that stuff's affected.
Yeah.
Just because I mean,
I'm gonna fire that up and find
Yeah.
out because I don't. Yeah, I didn't know if it would just be like, hey, it's here, it's functional, but you don't really get access to the full. That's kind of the way I understood it. Is you didn't get access to the full, like new features and stuff like that. So
I will warn you, you might have some issues with it because I know when I jumped from my old save to like some of the more recent, or not this update, but the updates before, I had some troubles getting the some of the blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had that issue this time really. Maybe it's because I haven't ran into having that issue, but I'm pretty sure I've been able to build everything. But like I had a hard time finding some of the other blueprints before, so you might have some issues. But I kind of found all the blueprints from last time, so I might kind of been almost uniquely situated to be fine to do it. But I don't know.
one thing that I do that I didn't mention before that I really am happy that they changed is that the nanites are no longer a spot in your inventory, because that was kind of annoying having to hold on to those and then trying to make more room the more that you had, especially since I'd played it on that new save and wasn't able to really buy anything because I didn't have good enough standing with the factions. And so like that aspect's cool, although I don't feel like I'm making as much money because when you upload the like scanned animals and plants and whatnot, it's no longer giving you unit credits for that. It gives you the nanite credits.
Oh, really?
So if you scan it, you get units. But then when you upload the stuff to the game, it gives you nanites instead of just more credits.
Interesting.
So
No Man's Sky, there it is. Go check it out, play
Yeah.
it. If you don't have it, go buy it, I guess, because
Been
I
having a lot of
feel
fun.
like it's actually a good game now.
it has moved
On-
itself up on Steam to mixed reviews.
Yeah, I saw
Which-
that.
I mean, is pretty impressive for how bad it was listed even just a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So,
Trevi91 says, anyone thinking about that Anthem game? Well, yeah, we're all gonna play it.
Yeah.
It looks
I'm excited
it looks
for that.
awesome. Go watch some of the E3 footage of that. Like, there's some really cool footage of them like doing a boss battle.
it looks very pretty.
Uh,
I don't know if it looks like it's anything that's excitingly different or new. It doesn't look like it's groundbreaking, but it looks very pretty.
It looks pretty. Looks well done. Looks cool.
yeah, I kind of thought the same thing until there's some footage. You should check
There's
it out.
some footage I should check out. Okay.
The game looks
Okay.
a little,
Maybe I missed.
a little better than like it, I didn't see it all of E3, and then I heard someone talking about it. And I went and looked up some of the boss battle stuff. Some of the like it definitely has like a Destiny vibe to it, but it looks like I don't know. It looks cool. I think it'll be.
I need
good.
to go
I'm
find that
excited for it,
footage
yeah.
now.
I think it'll be good. All right, real quick, we want to talk about this story coming from TheVerge.com. It says Microsoft's next generation Xbox will focus on XCloud game streaming. And it's an XCloud service is on its way, they say. So Microsoft is pretty much suggesting that they're going to be launching their next console in 2020.
My
Which
wallet hurts.
isn't too far away, but it's also, hey, it's about time. We're ready for new
That sounds-
consoles.
that sounds about right.
2020 sounds
'Cause when
good
did,
to me.
When did
I mean, we've had these
one
consoles
came out? When
for
1 and 4 was that?
2013.
I was gonna say
Okay.
2012 or 2013. I couldn't remember, but yeah.
I guess. Man, it doesn't seem
So,
like it's been that
I mean,
long.
it's been 5
but
years
it
already.
has.
Most cycles of games are, well, I mean, consoles are usually between 5 and 6 years, or maybe 7. But like you look at something like the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2, those, man, they went forever. Like, you know, even after their predecessor had released. So what it sounds like is this is going to be, they're going to potentially be releasing 2 forms of the hardware in 2020. One that'll be specifically designed for their xCloud service, and then one that'll be pretty much your next gen console, Xbox console. So, I mean, I think if you watched any of that Giant Bomb at Night stuff, Phil Spencer was on there talking about, you know, game streaming and where it's headed. And I mean, I think the problem that we have in the United States is that our internet, we just don't have the bandwidth for streaming games, especially like a Twitch-based game where you're like your reaction time is important, and the lag,
ISPs.
like, well, and even just the delay between the input of your controller and the game, like even on the fastest internet, sometimes that can be an issue, the input lag. So imagine playing a game that requires like quick response, like a Overwatch or Fortnite or PUBG or something like that. It seems like it would be pretty difficult. But then on the flip side, you're playing something that isn't quite as twitchy. It'll probably handle pretty well. So this is interesting because it's like, I think they from what they're saying here, it appears that they're working on a way to make this stuff work. But for people that are like, hey, I'm a real gamer, you'll still be able to get the actual console experience. But it sounds like this streaming box will be a fraction of the cost.
That's really cool.
Of a new console. So that way people can kind of get into the gaming thing.
Yeah.
And I saw right now, I was going to mention before I forget that the Xbox Game Pass service right now is on sale for like about 5 more days. And it's $10 for 3 months. So that's usually what you pay every month. So that, if you do the math, that gets you to Forza Horizon 5. It gets you through that month when that comes out, because that comes out October 2nd. So you could be playing that for $10 at this point. But the cool,
I need to look into that.
So I went ahead and did it just because I'm curious how this works, what the service is. Does it work with like a family plan? Like if you have multiple people under your family account, and it does. That's kind of cool. So like my wife, my kids, they could all download and install these games on their own, like on a separate Xbox even. And I mean, it's a really good deal. I mean, especially if you're, I'm kind of partial to owning my games so I can play them when I want. And but the ability to just be like, hey, I really want to check out Vermintide 2, but I didn't want to pay $50-$60 for it. Hey, it's on there, And so, and I'll probably keep it, and I'll probably install Forza this way, and then if I really want it, I can buy it. But it's just it's an interesting concept, and the thing about this is it's not, if people are leery about it, it's not like PlayStation has their streaming service and it's actually streaming games. So you have that input lag, you have that kind of bugginess, where this is actually installing the game. You download, install the game, and
really
then
nice,
so it's not. It's pretty much like it's pretty much like you're paying to own all these games every month.
Which is, it's interesting because it's that idea of the Netflix for video games type of service. The thing that I'm curious about with this streaming only console is it only going to be able to use the stuff that is streaming, or are you going to be able to still buy games from the store and download them onto there and play it that way?
From this, no. Because they're doing all the. Now, here's the thing. They're trying to, from what I understand, is they're trying to figure out a way that they can split the processing effort. So the console or the streaming only device, let's say, hey, we're going to run like kind of the heavy-ended AI stuff in the cloud on the server. But then like the local, like we want the local hardware to be able to manage some of it, like collision detection and stuff like that. So like when a character bumps into something, like how they react, some of the stuff that just happens that needs to happen quickly and that's always happening is going to be managed on, they're going to have at least enough power on that console to kind of manage some of that there while it's streaming to the console.
Right. So,
it's probably got a little bit of memory because it's probably downloading a chunk of the game and then feeding the rest to it as you play. But yeah, I think their goal is to actually be Netflix for gaming. Like because like right now, like I said, you still have to wait for the game to install, to download and then install. Where this is probably going to be turn it on, boom, you see a Microsoft logo, whatever, jump into the game and play it. And that's
then
why
when
I
your
think
internet
their goal.
decides that it needs to buffer, you're going to yell and hate it.
But I mean, at this point, you're seeing gigabit networks coming into city. Like even in Omaha, we're starting to see more and more gigabit installs. So it's coming. but still, it'll be interesting to see how it works.
I think I'm kind of along the same lines with you as far as the owning the games, which I mean I don't necessarily. I'm not as like I want to have it and have it forever, but I want to have it. Like I want to be able to play through it at my pace, and like that's the thing that worries me about something like this. That maybe a game's not on there for forever. I mean, with the way that the Game Pass works, you download it and you can continue to play it as long as you're a Game Pass member.
Well, and I think for me, the thing is like the games I'm most interested in that are going to be on there are going to be the Microsoft releases,
right?
And those are always going to be on there.
Sure.
I mean, that's like Netflix saying, "Oh, sorry, we're not gonna have Luke Cage or Daredevil anymore on our service." Like that's never going to happen,
right?
And so that doesn't worry me as much. But you're right. There are going to be games that maybe come and go that you're in the middle of. Which I mean, to be honest, if that's the case, then you go buy it.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Buy it at that point.
My
cheaper,
concern
too.
is if it is this streaming only console and you're talking about it in that aspect.
Oh, sure.
You can't
That's
buy it onto that console. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a completely different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where
what you're buying into, though. You know
Yeah.
that. Then if that's what you buy,
that's true.
that's what you're getting
That's
into
true.
at that point. Like, hey, this is what you're doing. You're not going to own
And
any
you're-
games.
right.
You're going to own this streaming box. Just like when I mean,
Yeah.
But it's still interesting to think because like I own an Apple TV and I buy all my movies through iTunes. Like I got rid of almost all my DVDs. Every movie I own is in iTunes, and it's like,
Right.
but it's all on a server somewhere, and I stream it to my Apple TV. I don't download the movie, and so there, I still see a potential for maybe this service even being similar to that. Like, hey, if you have this whole library of games
that you
bought,
bought,
that those games are still going to be there,
or
and
that
be
you
able
buy
to,
a license to
that you
stream
can
it
stream it to, yeah, or
for new games even.
yeah. So maybe this
Okay.
new game comes out, and they're like, hey, it's on our server. Pay $60, it's yours forever. Like that you could always stream it. Like that's definitely a possibility. So I don't know. I'm not going to write that off because I think that's totally.
I think that's the biggest concern that I have with the idea of the streaming only console because
and here's
you
the
may
thing.
be at the mercy of whatever
I think it would,
agreements they're able to get for games, and for the length of time and whatnot.
and I think they would be smart to hook up with companies like Activision and like. Especially EA, who is they're moving to like a premium. Was for their what's that thing called their service, the EA Play
Access.
or Access, whatever it is. And they're it would be good for them to maybe partner with these people and say, hey, we want to be able to offer your service on our box too. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at a scenario where it's like, hey, if I buy this box, is there a potential where maybe I don't know, you're maybe an insane person, but all you want to play is EA games. Like, is there a potential where you don't have you didn't buy the Microsoft Game Pass, but you bought the EA Access, and it works on this thing, and you don't have to. But maybe you own a few games, and you can stream those. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
So like a video game Roku, basically?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering. Is that what they're going to try to be in some ways? Because they're going to have to make space for third parties.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Otherwise, it'll just
and it can't just be this thing where like, hey, after a few months after the game comes out, you can play it on this. Like, I don't know if that's going to work.
It's kind of why that Steam TVs are terrible. Is
Yeah.
because it was only Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was games that were developed. You can only play games that were Linux based. Right? Are you talking about? Or no, you're talking about.
Oh, you meant. Oh,
What did you say?
I was thinking of the Steam, like the TV, the converter things. The
Steam Link.
The Steam Links. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, those will
Steam
play
Links.
everything though.
Yeah, those are pretty nice. Yeah, the Steam
Boxes or
boxes
whatever.
were
Yeah.
terrible. Oh my gosh, they were so.
Well, I mean, what's funny about that though is it did kind of encourage developers to go more Linux, so you see a little more Apple games come out. So, but still, like, there's a whole slew of games that you couldn't even play on them because you couldn't run Windows on it. But anyways,
I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of questions that brings up, and I mean, some of it is is this good for the consumer? Like, as far as how many different subscriptions do I need to buy into? How much is that going to cost me a month to be able to get the games that I want to play? If you're looking at, are you looking at like
but think about it this way: just if you budget right now. Like, let's say maybe the average, like, hardcore game, maybe not even hardcore, but, like, close to hardcore gamer maybe buys one game a month, let's say. Let's say, hypothetically. You're looking at $60 a month. are there more than 6 services that at $10 a month you would want to have?
No, probably not.
And so, like, I don't know. Maybe there are. I don't know.
Be.
But
I mean, I guess like I'm thinking like my situation and the way that I play games, and I've got GameFly, and so I'm spending $30 a month or so for being able to rent 2 games at a time, and I'm getting all the games that I want to. So I'm spending less than
most of the time, but
sometimes
you're not.
Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm not. You're right. And I mean,
where this almost could be better for you.
it could be. Yeah,
because you're getting it the day it comes out.
The question is, I mean, at what cost? Because I mean, right now I'm in a happy price range where I'm spending 30 something a month for games, and I'm not having to buy the games, so I'm not spending, you know,
I mean, sure,
120, you know, in September for Spider-Man and Tomb Raider, and then who knows how much for everything that's coming out in October.
So you're looking at, let's say, hey, I want where's Spider-Man? Is that Activision? No, that's
That's
a Sony exclusive.
Sony. It must be first party. Yeah.
So Sony
Yeah.
first party. You want that? You want
Tomb Raider in
Who's
September.
that? Who's making that?
Square Enix.
Square Enix, yeah.
Okay, they don't got their streaming service yet. And then, so like, I mean, it's a thing of like
Yeah.
how many of those, it does add up because you're looking, okay, I got my Sony streaming, I got my Xbox, I got my Square, I got my EA, my Ubisoft, my Activision. That's
Yeah.
6. That's the big 6 I can think of. But then what does that mean for, I question what that means for these indie developers. You look at something like the Switch where these indie games have been like super successful, games that came out 2-3 years ago, and all of a sudden, hey, people are buying these games now, again, just because they want stuff to play on their Switch.
Right.
And it's like, when it's a streaming only world, like there's still got to be room for these indie games to be purchased. Like I think there's got, I mean, or that indie market like just kind of dries up because unless there's enough money in the streaming game to support these smaller indie companies
Right.
and be like, hey, you come exclusively to Xbox and we'll pay you a bunch, whatever, for your game.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few years when they actually announce this and we actually see what it's going to look like, because
it's one of the things where I was like against giving up ownership of my music for years.
Yeah.
I want to own my CDs. I want everything. I want to own it, and I gave it up. I was that way with movies even longer. I want to own it. I want it on my shelf. I want to pull off the shelf. I want to put it in a DVD player. I want the experience. And then I'm like, you know what's nice? Sitting on the couch and just playing whatever the heck I want and not having to think about it. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I am at the point now where like the clutter, you know, I like having digital games now. I could kind of maybe see myself going to a point where I'm just like, maybe not just having access to all the games all the time whenever I want. Like for a streaming service isn't that bad of an idea. Sometimes.
No, and I'm all for that type of idea. I mean, like the Xbox.
Here's the solution. I just thought of it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say the what's their new the one that they have now, the Xbox service. What's
Game
it
Pass.
called? Game Pass. Yeah, that I love that idea. I think for me, it's the question is more of the streaming. What kind of, I mean, depending on what your internet's connection is that going to be good for people?
You mean in the future?
Yes, in the future. Like I'm completely okay, and I think I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't even hardly keep any games that I play.
Yeah.
I don't have to own them. I love the idea of the Game Pass where you download it, you know it's going to be reliable as you play it, and then you can uninstall it when you're done.
I think it's just a matter of bandwidth and infrastructure, and I think as that improves, that stuff it'll start to disappear. And I think that's always the case from a consumer perspective, is as things become more seamless and more invisible to the consumer, how things work, it's the better for everyone, you know. And, and I think that's the way technology works. Like you've got a phone, and you know, an app store was so foreign to us, and now it's just seamless in this invisible thing that just happens, and the things just work, and now it's just what's expected. And so I think as technology advances, infrastructure advances, we'll get to the point where it's not going to matter as much as we think about it right now, but it is a big deal right now.
Yeah,
right?
it seems like it's a big deal, but then, you know, once they actually spill the beans on what they're actually doing with it, it's kind of that what if.
Yep. I think that about does it for tonight. Do we have any emails this week?
No, we didn't have any emails
no
this
emails,
week.
No emails. All right, let's make sure that we do not leave this podcast without thanking our Patreon peeps. These are all the lovely individuals who donate at the co-producer level or higher. That means they give us $10 a month. They're so generous, so kind, too kind.
The best.
And we are very gracious for that. Right now, you can see the name in Shining Coral, the names in Shining Coral. That would be Jay Oliver and God of Atheists. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
It helps us keep going and do things like we did at Comic-Con. We had a great time there, and that was because of your support. We were able to do what we did there. So continue to do that. And if you're interested in supporting us, just go to patreon.com/minuteinaTub and choose the level. Whether it's $1 or more, it's up to you. We appreciate anything you can do.
Yeah, do it.
But I think that about does it for our show. We want to thank everybody for watching. I would like to thank everyone who's here in this room with me. Thank you, Trevor, for being here. Thank you, Kyle, for being here.
Hey.
I'd also like to thank Hypers for turning the knobs and twisting the dials. Thank you, Hypers, very much. And Kyle has something to say.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was gonna say, hey, I'm here. It's what I do.
Oh, okay.
But you kept moving, so I wasn't gonna stop it.
No, all right. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everybody for watching this right now live on Twitch, or if you're listening on iTunes or Google Play, or watching on YouTube, whatever it may be, wherever you may be with us right now.
Hey,
thank you very much.
Do us one favor. Go and tell one of your friends.
I thought
friend.
You're gonna say go and tell it on the mountain.
Yeah, and yeah, go find your one friend and tell it on the mountain. If you've got a friend that likes video games, go tell them about the loop and that they should watch and hang out.
Everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Men in a Tub is on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube and Facebook.
We had it until that. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All the places.
It's been a real thrill, but I gotta go fire up my old save on No Man's Sky and see what kind of junk I got lying around in my ship. Gotta clean out my cupboards.
You guys talking about that makes me kind of want to do that, even though I don't want to.
You do want to.
I kind of do, but I kind of do.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tonight.
I'll let you know
Tomorrow
next
night,
week.
9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Tubcast will be back. Hold on to your butts.